Alright, here's my Dax125. I just rode over 1,000 miles on the way home from work, so 1,005. Right? So I'm just gonna kind of go over this, the initial 1,000 miles and what I think about the bike and so far what's going on. So so this past month I started commuting on this bike because prior to that the bike only had like 100 miles. So I basically only put like 100 miles on it when I first got it back in November. Then it just sat there for like 3 months or something like that. So I just started riding about a month ago or so, maybe actually more than a month ago, maybe 2 months ago, right? Whatever the case. And I started doing some work to it, right? So I got the rear rack, got a middle rack, I got a front rack, got a windshield. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, I got the center stand right here. Right, center stand. All right, center stand comes down actually right here. Here's the pad for it where you put your feet. Center stand. What else did I get? Oh yeah, I got the cam, fin cover. The normal cam cover is just smooth. It's just a dome. Same thing with the valve covers, intake and exhaust with the fins. It's not just fins, but it's actually more mass. It's thicker. It's heavier, so it absorbs a little bit more heat. And the fins increase surface area, so it cools down a little bit more. Let's see. Just yesterday, actually, I cleaned and lubed the chain, so it's running so much smoother this morning. When I went to work, it was like so much smoother, because I had like 900 miles. I had over 900 miles, and I hadn't cleaned the chain yet. I'm still running the original tires. The front still looks pretty good. The back, let's see. The back here still looks pretty good as well, but you could actually see some wear in the center section of the back compared to the sides here. Let's see. I adjusted the chain tension, half a turn on the adjuster knob. That was enough. Let's see, what else did I do to this bike? Oh yeah, it's over here already. The bearing, the outboard bearing right here. I put that on. Let's see, what else did I do to this bike? I think that's about it. Oh, and I put in the quad lock vibration, right? The vibration that this right here, this triple thing, and on the bottom, that's for the vibration. And this right here, this part of it is the wireless charging. Let's see, what else did I do? I think that's it. All right, as far as riding goes, so the first 100 miles, everything was still tight, not broken in, so it wasn't very strong. It wasn't until after 100 miles that I started to feel it get stronger, and after 200 miles, I definitely felt a difference after 200. I mean, even after 100 miles, I felt a difference. But after 200 miles, I start to feel it loosening up a little bit. Then after like 500-600 miles, I feel it loosened up even more. And I've changed the oil. Let's see how many times I have changed the oil. I've changed the oil at, I think I did it at 100 miles or around 100 miles, maybe just after 100 miles, just over 100 miles. Then I changed the oil again at 600 miles. So basically 500 miles later. And both times the oil level was at the top of the dipstick. Even right now, after 400 miles, it's been about 400 miles, and the oil level was still at the top of the dipstick. I haven't changed the oil filter yet right here. I don't think I'm gonna change that until maybe another 1,000 miles or so. Let's see. As far as how it rides, that this longer seat right here, this banana style seat, makes it more roomy in your legs because you can scoot forward, you can scoot back a little bit. When I'm carving the mountain road twisties, and I want to go fast and carve, turn more aggressively, I will actually scoot my weight a little bit forward to give my my front end a little bit more planted, a little bit more grip. And if I'm going faster, I want to go a little bit faster. Like a downhill. I could scoot back a little bit, so that gives me more upper body space. Then I could actually tuck down a little bit under the windshield to behind the windshield, I should say, to reduce the wind profile. Right, so I could go a little bit faster. Oh, speaking of speed, this bike on the flats, it'll top out like at about 56 or so, maybe a little bit more than that, maybe 56 or a little bit over 56. On the downhill, it will hit the rev limiter at 68. So 68, the rev limiter kicks in. And I've only hit the rev limiter, I think, like a couple of times on this downhill that part of my commute, and I try to hit the rev limiter more than once, or every time I go down that. But I'm only been able to hit that rev limiter literally like less than a handful of times. So it's not easy to hit the rev limiter on this bike. When you get up to that speed, when you get up to like 65-ish or so, or getting near 65, I'm not sure if it's because of the windshield that I have that's causing this, but because the windshield is connected to the top clamp of the handlebar right here, so the whole thing moves, right? So I'm not sure because of that, where when you get up to about 65, the bike wants to kind of wobble a little bit, like sort of like the very beginnings of a tank stopper almost. So that front end gets kind of light, and it kind of like, so it could be the wind just again pushing on here, because whatever pushes on here, it pushes the steering, right? So if this wasn't here, less pushing on the front end. So that could be it, but I'm not 100% sure unless I take it off and do the high speed, do the high speed run. But I'm not going to do that, or I'm not going to take this off. And it could, if I scoot my weight forward, when I feel that, if I scoot my weight forward, it actually stabilizes a little bit. And it weighs down the front end a little bit and it stabilizes a little bit. So as far as speed wise, among the Honda mini bikes, right? Because I've had most all of it, right? I've had the Monkey. Well, I still have the Monkey. I've had the Super Cub. Sold that a few years ago. I have the Trail 125. Obviously the Dax125. Right. So the only one that I haven't had is the Grom. And the Grom is kind of like the Monkey, and right, it's most like the Monkey probably, I would say, because it has a shifter and a clutch, whereas this is more like the Super Cub or the Trail 125 with the auto, not the auto, but the semi-auto clutch, right? So as far as the speed goes, it's probably about the same speed as a Monkey, approximately. And of the Honda mini bikes, the fastest is the Super Cub, hands down. Super Cub is the fastest. I've gotten the Super Cub hitting the rev limiter. The Super Cub will hit like past 75, upper 70s before it hits the rev limiter. So basically like 10 miles an hour higher than this bike until it hits the rev limiter. So it's top speed. This bike doesn't compare. On the Super Cub, if I could recall, on the flats I could do 60, maybe even a little bit over 60 on the flats, low 60s. So this bike, just past mid 50s, and that's about it. And that's the way the Monkey is too. The Monkey, I get to like, I think the upper 50s or so, and that's about it. Let's see. So again, this bike does have a longer wheelbase than say the Monkey, and the banana seat, so it is more comfortable. in that regards. The monkey has the softest seat of any motorcycle I've ever sat on, hands down, easily. Easily the softest seat, the most comfortable seat. But the seat's not very big. You could scoot up, back and forth a few inches, but this thing you could scoot back and forth like at least 6 inches forward or 6 inches back easily. That much, if not more. So this seat, it's a little bit narrower, especially up towards the front right here. It's a little bit narrower, and it's not as comfortable of a seat. But because of the length of it, you can scoot back your butt back and forth. That makes it, that not just make the butt part of it comfortable, but it makes your legs, it makes you roomier for your legs. That's the thing that the monkey doesn't have. The monkey is a little bit cramped in the legs, the leg room. And I have a 30-inch inseam, so take what you will with that. So I definitely say that this bike is overall this bike is a little bit more comfortable, a little bit roomier, a little bit more space. But as far as the seat goes, that monkey would be it. Because this bike, like the Grom, it has passenger pegs, so basically it's able to carry 2 up. Because of that, the suspension, the springs, is firmer. So that actually makes it ride a little better than the monkey. Because the monkey is only one person. The suspension, the spring is a little bit on the soft side, I think, for like spirited riding, canyon carving. It's a little bit on the soft side. But on my monkey, I have Ohlins on there, so that made a bigger difference. And this bike, I'm not going to do any suspension work at all. I'm leaving it as is. And basically, this is it. What you see right now is it. I'm not going to do anything else to this bike. This is all I'm doing. Just make it a practical round town commuting bike. It's still not as practical as, say, a scooter, for example. My Elite 110. My Elite 110. That was the most practical scooter motorcycle I've ever had, besides my Zero SR. My Zero SR, right? My Zero SR over here. Oh, you guys can't see it because it's pitch black in here. But anyways, the Zero SR, my electric bike, right? Compared to, so that's the only, that bike is the most practical commuter round town bike I've ever ridden easily. The second one would be my Elite 110. Let's see, how does this thing carve the roads, the canyons? It's not as fun as the monkey. The monkey, hands down, is probably the funnest motorcycle I've ever ridden, just because of how small it is. The wheelbase is so short, it's lower. Everything's it's so compact that it's so fun to ride. But if you ride for a long time, it gets a little bit cramped feeling. And I've ridden. Let's see, what's the furthest I've ever ridden on a monkey? I think the furthest I've ever ridden on a monkey is Tahoe. I rode up to Tahoe on that little bike. So from where I live to Tahoe, it's like 200 miles. About 200 miles, maybe a little bit more, because you take the back roads. And I was relatively comfortable, I would say, because of that seat. It was a little cramped, but that seat made it tolerable. Let's see. I skidded the tire a few times. So the back tire, because the back tire doesn't have ABS, but the front tire does have ABS, and I think I hit the ABS. I've activated the ABS on this thing at least once, if not a couple of times, and it works fine. These tires are not the best tires. Around town, it's fine, but when you start to go, spirited riding, canyon carving, you start to push it, you can feel the tires. They feel kind of vague, but also they're like, oh, you're not sure if it's like, or, do you have full grip or not? Or maybe not. So once these tires wear out, I'm gonna throw on my what is it? I think they call it Kenda. I believe it's Kenda. The KD ones. I think the Kenda KD ones, or whatever brand it is. But I remember the model is called KD ones. They're like the cheaper version of the what was that? The Dunlop GPR? No, not GPR, not Dunlop. Bridgestones? No. Oh, now I can't even remember. the I don't even remember what they were called, but whatever the case, the kiddie ones are the low budget version, and they are almost as good, not quite as good, but almost. If you're racing and there was like something at stake, then I would not use the kiddie ones. I would use the tires that the kiddie ones or you know the actual tires, not the cheaper version kiddie ones. But outside of that, the KD ones I think would be better because it's half the price. Let's see. Oh, did I mention the chain? I did adjust the chain. Yeah, I think I did mention that the chain. I tightened. Well, I shouldn't say tighten. I turned the adjuster half a turn to take up some of the chain slack. The because the chain's broken in, so it gets more loose. And the thing about the Honda chains, the original chains, is that these chains they don't last very long, and they stretch out really fast. By the time that the bike a bike gets to about, I would say 7,000 miles, maybe 8,000 miles, the chain is done. It's gone. It's stretched out so much that you won't have any more adjustment left in your adjustment for the chain. So yeah, so that I will probably, I don't know, I'll probably just ride this thing until it gets to that point, then I'll get a new chain, which will probably be, I don't know, by next year I think. Let's see, what else with this bike? Yeah, I can't think of anything else. So far I like it, enjoy it. As far as like a commuter bike, I think as far as the Honda mini bikes anyway, the Super Cub is a better commuter bike. It's just the bigger wheels is more comfortable. You have the windshield, the leg shield gives protects your legs a little bit more, so it's not as cold. You don't get all the stuff on the road that kicks up at you, right? So that's a more practical bike, I would say. The Dax is cool. The Dax is a little funner though. It feels heavier. The Super Cub feels lighter, and I think it's the wheels. Because the Super Cubs they have bigger wheels, but it's thin. It's only like about that wide, right? Whereas these tires are like, double the width of the Super Cub. So yeah, for practical sense, the Super Cub's better. Just get a rack for the Super Cub and and like a basket or something like that, like a milk crate. Then I think that would be better to have that for the Super Cub. But this bike is a little bit funner than Super Cub. But it does feel a little bit slightly heavier than the Super Cub. The Monkey feels really light, and the Trail 125 feels the heaviest of the bunch. It feels the heaviest, feels the most sluggish, and it actually is the most sluggish. It is the slowest. Because I think the Trail 125, it tops out on the flats. It tops out at about 50, and I can't remember if I can't recall if I've ever hit the rev limiter on that bike or not. I think the rev limiter is probably around 60 or so, about 60, I believe. It's been a while since I rode that bike actually. Let's see. Oh, it's getting dark. Sun already set it. I just got home right before making this video. Let's see. Yeah, so that's it. I think that's my initial impressions of this bike. All right, thanks for watching.